Okay, so we're going to make some sloppy joes today. So first of all, you need to wash your hands, make sure you've got an apron on, collect your ingredients, which start with a couple of onions. These are red ones, you can use brown, a red or yellow pepper, tin of chopped tomatoes, a garlic clove, some cheddar cheese or cheese slices. This is liquid smoke, but you can use barbecue sauce, and some minced beef or chicken, some brioche buns or any form of buns, and some sunflower oil. The equipment you need will be a chopping board, a sharp knife, a large saucepan, a garlic crusher, a frying pan, and a wooden spoon. Okay, so we're going to make a start with doing the prep, and I'm going to start with the pepper, because obviously if you start cutting onions first, your eyes will start to water. So I'm just taking the bottom off this pepper because it's a bit soft on one part of it. Cutting the edges off so that I can take the middle out and get rid of it, and then I'm just going to cut the red pepper into chunks. Okay, I'm going to be using the claw grip to make sure that my fingers don't get cut. I'm also going to take this white pith out because it actually is quite bitter, so it's sometimes good to take it out, especially if there's a lot of it like there is in this one. Okay, so again, taking a bit more of the pith out and then just slicing it into three. I'm using the claw and keeping my fingers out of the way so that I don't end up with any blue plasters on me. Okay, so once you've cut your pepper up, put it onto your white tray if you're in school, or do what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to put this onto a plate because I don't have white trays, I'm at home. Alright, so I've cleared up, I put them on a white tray, on my plate, and I'm going to prep the onion. Okay, so take the top off. The top is the bit where it's not the hairy bottom. You don't want the root taking off, keep the root intact. Now this is a bit papery, this onion, so I'm going to cut it in half again so I can get a better go at the getting the skin off. This onion, I'm only prepping this one now because this is the one that's going to go into the sloppy joes, and I'm going to cut this into chunks. The other onion we're going to fry it off afterwards as a topping for the sloppy joes. You can use a brown onion if you don't have red. I don't have any brown onions, so I'm using the red one. Okay, right, so follow the natural lines using the claw, and you're going to cut thin slices but not through the root, and then turn the onion and then cut across the slices you've just made so that you get some nice small chunks of onion. Okay, put the root on one side. Notice I've peeled everything off the chopping board, so I'm not going to get any of the papery bits mixed in with the onion that's going to go in the food. Again, follow the lines, don't go through the root, and then turn the onion so that you're cutting across the slices that you've just made. Okay, put this sliced onion onto your white tray or a plate, whichever you're using. Okay, I'm going to just get rid of the peel because I don't want that getting mixed up. There's nothing worse than having a bit of onion peel in your food. And then I'm going to put the onion onto the plate, and as you can see underneath my chopping board, I've got a white paper towel with a bit of water on it. This chopping board spins when I'm using it, so this holds it in place and stops it spinning when you're using the sharp knife. So garlic next, top and tail it, take off the papery outer layer, and again I'll do this off the chopping board so it doesn't get mixed into the food. And you just want the flesh, the actual clove from the garlic, the white bit, and then I'm going to use the garlic crusher to crush this over the onion because it's all going in the pot at the same time into the pan. Okay, so pop it inside the garlic crusher and then you just push down, and as it comes out you can just scrape it off with a knife onto your onions. Okay, right, so that's that done. Keep your workspace clear, get rid of any bits like the garlic and what have you, get rid of everything that you're not using. It's important to have a clear workspace, it makes it easier to manage. Okay, so open your tin of tomatoes, ready to put them in your pan when you're ready, when everything else is cooked. So that's that open, and then you've got your mince. Okay, notice I do the mince last because of cross-contamination and making sure that everything that I do is safe when you're using raw meat. And then you're going to cut this in half because this is a 400-gram pack and you only need 200 grams of this. Okay, so I'm not going to use it all. Okay, so I'm ready. So in my large pan, I'm going to put some oil, a couple of tablespoons. I'm going to put the gas on. Okay, and then I'm not going to wait for it to heat up too much because I want it to warm everything through as it starts to cook. So I'll put everything in, onions, garlic and peppers into the pan, and then with a wooden spoon give it a nice stir. Now I've got the temperature on quite high just to get it going. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to cook this over a medium heat now for about 8 to 10 minutes. All right, until the pepper starts to soften and the onion starts to soften. They'll let out the flavours, they'll start to get softer, and as they soften out, the cells in the vegetables will rupture and the flavour will go into the food that you're going to be cooking. Okay, so just keep moving it around the pan so that it doesn't stick. All right, and notice I've got my mince at the side. I'm just about turning this down now because I don't want it too hot. Once it starts to really sizzle, you need to turn it down. Right, so I've been stirring this now for about 5 minutes. You can see how it's starting to soften. Okay, and I'm going to add the mince in. Okay, once you've added your mince in, just break it up as it's going in, and then obviously you need to wash your hands after handling raw meat. Okay, and then once you've cleaned your hands, just stir it round, and what you want this to do now is to start to brown. Okay, and it will brown. Once it's all brown and the pinkness has gone from your mince, you can then add your tomatoes. This will take a few minutes. Okay, so keep moving it around. You don't want it sticking, and again do your temperature control, because if it starts to burn to the bottom of the pan, you'll end up losing half your mince and you'll end up scrubbing the pan clean. So keep temperature control in mind all the way through this. Okay, just keep moving it around so that the heat gets to all the mince and starts to brown it off. Okay, right, so you can see now that the mince has browned off, and I'm now going to add the tomatoes to it. Okay, all right, and then we'll stir that in. I'm not adding any other liquid to this. I'm going to add my liquid smoke, which I use in a lot of my cooking for vegan food, but it's a good alternative to barbecue sauce. You may add barbecue sauce at this stage, that's fine, but I don't have any, so I thought, oh, the liquid smoke might work, and it did. It worked very, very well. Okay, so I'm now going to leave that for about 15 minutes to simmer gently. So whilst that's doing that, I'm going to go back to the other onion, and I'm going to top it, take the top off, peel it, and then I'm going to slice this. I'm not going to dice it, I'm just going to slice it because I'm going to cook it in the frying pan. I'm going to fry it off and caramelize it. So cut it in half through the root, and then you're just going to slice it into half rings. Okay, nice and finely. And this will give you a nice topping. Now, if you don't like a lot of onion, you could do it with mushrooms. You could cook off a load of mushrooms. So it's entirely up to you. Okay, right, so I'm a little bit of oil in my frying pan. I've moved my sloppy Joe mixture over to the smaller ring to let it just simmer gently. And I've got a bit of a wonky pan here. And into this I'm going to add my onions. And I'm going to cook those through until they really start to caramelise and let out that sweet flavour that they get when they caramelise. Okay, so I'm also going to keep stirring my sloppy Joe mix because I don't want it sticking to the bottom of the pan. So it gives you the opportunity to keep an eye on both at this stage. Okay, so just frying off the onions, keeping them moving around the pan, and gradually they will start to cook down, as you can see. Okay, and I keep moving them round, and I really want them to caramelise, so I've turned the heat up a little bit because I really want to get them caramelising. Okay, you can add a little bit of sugar to them if you want to get that caramelised flavour as well, but I'm not going to. I want just a natural flavour from the onions. Okay, so we're nearly there with them now, and I've been stirring the sloppy Joe mix as well. So once these are done, I'm now going to I've actually got a block of cheddar cheese. I'm going to grate this. It does say on the recipe 2 slices of cheese slices, but I don't buy those, so I'm going to use a block of cheese, which is what I have in the fridge. So you can just put cheese slices in, or you can grate some cheddar cheese. It depends what you've got. I'm just going to add the cheese now to the sloppy Joe mixture. Can you see how much that's thickened up? I'm turning it down because it is beginning to catch on the bottom of the saucepan. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the cheese to this, and it says to put a lid on the pan. Now in school we don't have lids, so I do have one here, but I'm just showing you what you could do instead. Is I'm going to just put the baking tray over the top, and I've turned it off because I don't want it to burn on the bottom. Okay, so now I'm ready with my brioches. I've cut them in half, and I'm going to assemble. You can see that the cheese has melted into the sloppy Joe mix. I'm just going to spoon it onto the bottom. I've not put butter on it because I don't think it really needs it, because there's fat in the mixture. So I've put the mixture on. As you can see, there's more than enough for 2 here, with 200 grams of mince. And then I'm going to put my caramelized onions on the top, just to finish them off. And then I'm going to put my lid on, and then I'm going to eat them for my tea. So